I'm the Irish guy and right. Premier League Game Week 8 predictions. Oh no, please no milk. Right, let's go. Luton 0, Tottenham 3. This is weird. Luton and Tottenham are separated by 24 miles. These two are neighbours who've had nothing to do with each other for over 30 years. 11th of March 1992. A hideous 0-0 draw at Luton's bullfish goal of a ground. I would imagine it was about as thrilling as watching two gorillas nibble grass at the zoo. I mean, it was probably a game that was such a waste of time that both clubs just shook hands and agreed not to hang out with each other for another 30 years. But with this game, I know Luton snuck a win at Everton's ground last time out. But there's no way you're stopping Tottenham right now. It's mental. Tottenham finished off last season by losing 5 over the last 8 games. One of them was when they were 5-0 down after 20 minutes. Literally the length of a Simpsons episode. But here, unbeaten in 7. All they have to do is just win on a moldy pitch that probably stinks of fish, and Tottenham would go top of the league. Of course they're going to want that. James Maddison is going to run rings around these pudding sandwich Luton players. I reckon Richarlison is going to bag himself a goal. Son and Min will bag in 2, and yeah, easy 3-0 win. Ange Postecoglou is going to absolutely tactically hypnotize Rob Edwards into a tactical coma. I mean, Edwards has been a coach since 2016, right? Great. Yeah, Postecoglou's had his management cap on since 1977. What? He said he was coaching his mate's team when he was 12. People think he's a young, up-and-coming, fresh coach new on the scene. No, he's literally been coaching since 5 years before Edwards was born. So yeah, sorry, an absolute 3-0 exhibition. Luton fans will be leaving this ground blubbering like depressed bumblebees. Do bumblebees get depressed? I'm gonna say this. If Luton record more than 35% possession of the ball, if they get more than that number, then I will chuck a bucket of frozen toilet water on my head, but it ain't gonna happen. It won't. They won't get a sniff of the ball. Carlton Morris will touch the football less times than I've hugged my mum. Burnley 0, Chelsea 1. I remember when Burnley sent utter shockwaves across the planet when they beat reigning champions Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on the opening day of the season 6 years ago. That was absolutely bonkers. When Burnley went 3-0 up, it was a result which almost made time stand still. Yeah, is anyone really gonna be shocked to see Chelsea lose to Burnley now? No, not really. Listen, Chelsea usually have fun at Turf Moor. In their last 4 visits to this ground, they scored 15 goals. They've scored 4 goals in 3 of those visits. And this is only dating back to October 2018. They've absolutely eaten them like a wet hamburger. Chelsea have not lost at this ground since 1983, so I'm sorry. I know I tip Vincent Kompany to have a great season, but he's not getting a win here. He's just not. I think Burnley will actually have more of the ball. We'll probably tip the possession stats, maybe 51-49, but their end product will be pretty vomit-worthy. Chelsea will survive some hairy moments, but you know what? I'm gonna go with an Armando Broja thunderbolt from outside the box, thrashing in off the crossbar. It'll be a pretty dull match, but yeah, this Albanian beefcake will step off the bench and do something crazy. Broja will have his moment. He will impact the game in a meaningful way. Just watch. He's probably going to get sent off, isn't he? Actually, no, knowing my luck, now that I've tipped him to do something huge, instead he'll probably just pull his groin in the warm-up and spend the rest of the match eating popcorn and sausages on the bench. Everton 3, Bournemouth 2. Oh, no, 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 no! Lads, I spent the first few weeks of the season sticking up for Bournemouth and telling everyone that Anthony Iriola's first win is just around the corner. At the same time, I'm also desperate for Everton to start winning matches, so I don't have to go back to chucking freezing milk on myself. You know how nice it's been the last 2 weeks not having been drowned in calcium? I thought the Toffees would beat Luton last week, that they'd move away from the relegation zone, so I wouldn't have to be terrified about Milk Mondays in October. This is such a cruel, ironic twist of fate, because I want to be proven right about Bournemouth. I'm sick of the media saying,
oh, Iriola still hasn't won a match. Isn't he just some Spanish pumpkin about to get sacked?
But I also need Everton to win. If Bournemouth win this match, then I'm praying that both Tottenham and Chelsea win their games, or it'll be another milky start of the week for me. You know, surely Everton can't be as bad as they were last week against Luton. Surely Sean Dyche is going to demand a reaction. They can't. They cannot lose back-to-back matches at Goodison Park to Luton and Bournemouth. So no, I refuse to believe they will lose, and they won't. Because Dyche's career rests on this game, right? Because if Iriola tactically dances all around him and leaves with a 3-0 Bournemouth win, then he's going to get grabbed by the collar and flung into a bunch of dirty bins at the back of the training ground. Come on. I reckon Bournemouth will play well, but surely the Everton fans are going to roar the Toffees to a win. I think it'll be a great game, back and forth, but 3-2 Everton win. I'm sorry, Bournemouth. I know I don't want to have another week of listening to brainless pundits whining about the fact you still haven't won. But come on, I need an Everton win. Fulham 1, Sheffield United 0. Fulham are awful this season. I've said it. I choreographed it. I predicted it. I knew this would happen. I just knew it. Second season syndrome. Lads, since leaking that crazy 2-2 draw at Arsenal in August, Fulham have scored once. 1 goal in 4 games. They're not good this season, and Sheffield United should be looking to get a win here. Oh boy, do they need a win. They need a win more than a hungry orphan needs a cookie. But the dreadful run the Blades are on reminds me of Derby County. Sometimes when the visiting team is so revoltingly bad, and when the home team is such a heavy favourite to win, sometimes the home team can choke just a little. This is a team who were recently crushed 8-0. They only have 1 point, oofed. So the pressure is on Fulham to win. Again, like that pitiful 11-point Derby team. I mean, they were regularly hammered 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, yes. But they also lost just 1-0 against fellow bottom half strugglers like Man City, Reading, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Bolton, Wigan, Middlesbrough again, Everton. Even Man United at home was a 1-0 defeat. People remember the 6-0s, but they forget about the tight 1-0 matches, and this will be similar. It's going to be a nasty, uncomfortable afternoon for Fulham fans. The supporters will be so nervous. I even think the Blades will miss a penalty before someone like Willian spanks in a 90th minute winner. Honestly, it'll be so unconvincing. A bit like if Tommy Fury beats KSI by sneezing in his eye. Man United won, Brentford 2. Brentford have not won at Old Trafford since 1937. What am I doing here? What am I predicting? I'm predicting Manchester United to lose again. What? Anyone have a problem with that? They've already lost 6 games of football this season. They are in free fall. They are in a mess. And let's not forget, I think Erik ten Hag will always be traumatized by Brentford. Having gone 4-0 down at half-time in just his second match in charge, he probably has a Brentford phobia right now. He doesn't want to have to come up against Thomas Frank when his team's confidence is in the mud. This reminds me of the end of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign when all bets were off. You could tip them to lose to anyone and they would. I mean, in his last match, they were beaten 4-1 by Watford, who had a YouTuber in goal. To put it in context how bad Watford were, that was just their second home win of the season and their last. The game was in November. And similarly, I reckon they're going to be absolutely floored again. Rasmus Højlund is the only player currently playing out of his skin, and I'm sure he'll score again, but Christian Norgard will head in from a corner kick after half-time, and the stadium will freeze. Fans, players, and management will be terrified. And yeah, in a match where the home team are too focused on not losing again, oh, they will. Just like against Galatasaray, Brian Mbemo will score a counter-attack goal after about 82 minutes, and Manchester United will officially be an absolute crisis. Wolves 0, Aston Villa 1. Wolves versus Aston Villa is a Midlands derby, right? Well, Villa haven't actually beaten Wolves in their last 5 attempts. Aston Villa have only won a Premier League match against Wolves once since January 2012. That is a very weird stat. What's even stranger is that Wolves have not lost a Premier League match at Villa Park since December 2003. When the last Lord of the Rings film was in cinema. Not only is that Villa's last Premier League home win over Wolves, it's actually their only Premier League home win over Wolves. Can someone tell me how? How do they keep avoiding defeat at Villa Park? Whenever Wolves come to town, Villa tend to just splutter and choke like a vegan eating steak. They should probably change their crest to being the 3 little pigs because they're scared of letting Wolves in their house. To be fair, this one is at Molyneux, and Villa and Wolves are so far apart in terms of quality. Listen, they both had absolutely superb results last weekend, yes, but let's be real, it was 2 very different performances. Villa stuck 6 with ease past high-flying Brighton, where they had 19 shots. Wolves beat Man City, yeah, but they only had 1 shot on target. Don't you tell me there wasn't a huge chunk of luck. It was almost as if Gary O'Neill before the match was caught kissing a leprechaun on the bus. So let's be real, Villa are winning this match. 1-0 Ollie Watkins. Next, Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Crystal Palace have not beaten Nottingham Forest in any competition at home since December 2003. Literally the day after Aston Villa beat Wolves at home for the last time. Yeah, the very next day, Forest lose 1-0 at Palace, and then never again. What is going on? Was there some sort of superhero curse in English football that weekend? Hey, what else happened the week before Christmas 2003, and then never again? Did Steve Bruce sit in a bath filled with his own son's poo, and then never again after that? It's also very strange. But listen, I don't expect this to be a good game at all. I reckon it'll be a very dull, ugly watch. Roy Hodgson is going head-to-head with Steve Cooper. Both ex-England managers, sort of. I mean, Hodgson was an unmitigated disaster in his job, while Cooper, he won the World Cup. I mean, the Under-17 World Cup, a tournament full of players searching for their first kiss. I mean, Christ, but what did the after-party celebration look like? Just a bunch of teenagers being treated to a meal at Burger King? Nah, who are we kidding? They were probably drinking vodka in a ditch. Well, yeah, as for this game, it's just a horrible, awful 0-0 draw. Brighton 0, Liverpool 4. Liverpool are angry. Liverpool are furious. Of course they are. They've been in the media demanding a replay of Tottenham for last weekend's farce. Yeah. That's not gonna happen. But listen, Brighton are off the back of a 6-1 thumping at Villa Park. Can you imagine how quickly the opinion of Roberto De Zerbi will change when they get hammered at home to Liverpool? He was linked to Real Madrid 2 weeks ago. This is going beyond ridiculous. Listen, I know Liverpool were spanked 3-0 at Brighton earlier this year, but I just smell an angry Liverpool. I think they're gonna come roaring back. Mo Salah will score a couple of goals. Darwin Núñez and Harvey Elliott with the others. They're gonna absolutely rip Brighton apart as if their entire defense is made of confetti. It's just gonna be a painful afternoon for the Seagulls. Trust me, Liverpool are going to destroy you. West Ham 2, Newcastle 2. Here's a weird stat. Newcastle have only ever lost a West Ham spaceship of a ground once, in March 2019. That was the last and only time they've ever trudged out of that stadium with 0 points. To be fair, that was billed as a midfield clash between 2 up-and-coming English midfielders, Declan Rice and Sean Longstaff. To be fair, it's 4 years later. One of them has since become the most expensive British footballer of all time, while the other just scored for his boyhood club against PSG in the Champions League. Neither one has done too badly. But yeah, lads, considering Newcastle won 5-1 here in April, it seems weird that I haven't tipped them for another win. But lads, it's just days after an emotional, draining match against PSG. Again, coming back down to earth and have to get yourself back up for a game against West Ham. To be fair, I know I said the same thing after Newcastle's colossal match against AC Milan. I was anticipating them being a sloppy, tired, sluggish mess at Bramall Lane, and they instead scored 8. But listen, both teams are coming off big midweek European games. I don't think either team will be at their best. It'll be a tired, incoherent performance for both West Ham and Newcastle. But yeah, I'll go for a back and forth 2-2 draw with Jared Bowen and Thomas Souček scoring, while Alexander Isak will bag 2 for Newcastle. Fairly entertaining match. Arsenal 1, Man City 1. This is a monster match, a huge, massive clash. Arsenal versus Manchester City. This is usually the sort of huge pressure cooker monster match where Arsenal usually choke. But I think, despite an embarrassing Champions League loss to Lens, I think they'll take hope from Wolves beating Man City. I think Arsenal will play a good match. Gabriel Jesus will score against his former club before Julian Alvarez nips in with a late equalizer. That will flatten the stadium. Those fans will leave miserable because Arsenal will be the better team. We're going to look back at this as a game that Arsenal should win because Man City will not be at their best. I think Arsenal will give it a good go, but Gabriel Jesus, once again, is going to be sloppy in front of goal. Trust me, this is a game where he could and should have scored a hat-trick. Trust me. So yeah, just 1-1 draw. Anyway, that's the end of the video. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.